Homestuck, Homestuck, Homestuck. I've always had a small itch to read Homestuck, but every time I tried, the first few pages never really stuck. I was semi jokingly telling a friend I'd stream myself reading it. After a while, I downloaded the unofficial Homestuck collection, saw there was a new reader mode, and thought, if the fandom built something like this for newcomers, I definitely have to give it another shot. And then something wild happened. Right after I made that decision, the Homestuck pilot got announced. Stuff like this kind of happens to me a lot. I'll start a series, then an adaptation or big news drops right after. Chainsaw Man, Komi-san, Tomo-chan, even some old school manga, like Siren when I revisited it. So when the pilot news hit, I took it as a sign. Fine, this is it. I'm actually doing it. Act 1 was goofy, surreal, and light. It was way more fun than I expected. Without reading Homestuck, I'm able to feel a weird nostalgia about it. The aesthetic, the writing, and the references bring me back a bit. I'm 25 years old, so I would have been 9 when the first pages came out. John Edberg has to be my favorite character so far. His love of shitty movies to being shit at computer programming, and his general personality feel really relatable for me in particular. Around his age of 13, I did a small coding boot camp, and I also love shitty movies. But who doesn't love bad movies? John may be a geeky nerd, but he also seems to be the coolest fucking guy in the whole thing so far. He doesn't take himself too seriously. He is a master in the prankster ways. I'm not saying he doesn't take himself seriously, because he definitely does, but he does things for the love of the game. His disguise is an example of something I think he took too seriously in a way. But his dad seems to be like an expert, so maybe the disguise is better than I know. Changing to the bowler hat and the use of the pipe add to the seriousness he takes in his disguise. He doesn't add it because he thinks it's needed, he adds it because he knows it'll be better. John's able to do some sick ass flips, look cool as hell jumping from his messed up bathroom to his utility room, and be a general goof. His entire world is goofy, so it makes him seem less like a goof. John has fun even when he probably shouldn't. He tends to zone out, it seems. John's strife with his father showed how weirdly strong his father is, I guess. I guess it's not weird that a 13-year-old kid shouldn't be able to beat his father. But it was an interesting fight. Or strife. It showed his dad maybe more of a goof than him. But his dad may be something more than shown. The humor in Homestuck is hitting me harder than it probably should. The simple nonsense of having him contemplating shitting on his desk was something too stupid, and I loved it. I love the fake arms, the McConaughey obsession. I think it's stupid and yet still funny. I think the stupid yet still funny is a lot of the humor that gets me. It really does remind me of other webcomics that were of its time. One mechanic I'm loving the idea of is the Strife species bus. This in my mind has huge potential. Things are added to the mechanic in Act 2, and I assume Act 3 will expand upon it more. I have extremely high hopes for this. It's kind of funny that John is able to be cool without putting in effort to be cool, which makes it ironic for another. But maybe there's enough layers in this irony lasagna for them to be the coolest. The dictionary definition of cool might just show a picture of this lad and his room. I can only be talking about the lad Dave Strider. Dave Strider is shown to be a master of the sword, a DJ, rapper, niche micro internet celebrity, and generally a cool guy. Dave, like John, instantly caught my attention and made me love the guy. Dave taking over the screen with his psych out was almost enough to lock me in as a Dave stan. Dave's room and house are somehow weirder than John's. Dave's house is a mess of cool things. I say cool, but it's kind of hard to call some of it cool. For a 13-year-old boy, these may be some of the coolest things someone like him could ever imagine that could exist. When I was younger, I thought most of these things were cool, and I imagine that this is a young preteen to teenager image of cool. Dave seems to be more engaged in the computers and actual combat. John is hammerkind, which you could think is something that is strong and a smart choice, but in reality, it is an accident from a guy trying to figure out how his storage works. Dave, on the other hand, kind of has a strong strife species bus selection from the get-go. I kind of think Dave's brother put him on a path of learning for what he needs to know to be solidly set. Dave's set of skills seem to be more helpful for the world they live in over John and Rose. Dave's implied to be adept at computer programming and general cool-ass shit. I assume at some point Dave's, John's, and Rose's specific skills will come in handy at specific moments in their journey. Rose's set of skills seems to be the least helpful so far. Speaking of Rose, she is the second character introduced, and I don't really know how I feel about her. She seems to be smart, self-absorbed, and feels more mysterious than John and Dave. She seems to think about every situation more and figures things out much faster and could be more efficient if Rose wasn't so gaudy with the way she acts. Depending on how she acts in Act 3, this will affect majorly on how I view her. I feel like at the moment, she isn't as entertaining as John and Dave, but I feel like after more interactions with everyone, she could instantly become my favorite. Rose does seem to come from the most well-off family. Saying well-off is kind of an understatement. She lives on top of a fucking waterfall in a brutalist type of home. Her home, I think, may just be the most interesting. She has a weird back and forth with her stay-at-home wine mother. Her and her mother seemingly have a weird one-upsmanship in a similar way to Dave and his brother, except in a rich white girl and her alcoholic mother toxicity type of way. Rose is the girl I feel I mostly ran into in school. Well, maybe not like ran into, but like communicated with. I'm really late with this, so I'll go over Rose more later and talk about some quick theories I have while reading and some I have now. Let's start with some I've had while reading. A rapid fire here, but I thought John was going to be transported to like a different place. I didn't think his entire house would be transported to this void. I saw an apple, and when I see an apple and a character, I kind of think of Adam and Eve. So I pictured something like eating the apple he ate, or the forbidden fruit, or maybe fruits, plural, would take the character somewhere. The places I thought he would be taken was hell/purgatory, or to like a garden, like the Garden of Eden. Or maybe he's already in the garden and it would take him to the real world. The parental figures, I will say real quick, all seem to have been preparing the kids for what is to come. The thing that is happening is part of a cycle, and this could be the last part of the cycle, and this will decide everything. We see into the way future with this desert guy, so I assume that this is the future they lose in. I have one shot in the dark theory on this guy, but I'll save it a little further down. I think there will be a face-off type moment. Psych! My shot in the dark theory is, this is Dave. My only reason is the use of psych. I think I may have missed more moments, but I think this is something I can just say. I think psych would be used more if it wasn't meant to be a Dave thing. Also, I think somehow this may not be my worst take, though, that John will go through. I have a couple ideas on this. I think there will be either an opposite group, like the group forming with John, Rose, Dave, and Gigi. John and one of those characters, maybe one with like an opposite-esque personality, will have like a mind swap with each other, and they will have to pretend to be each other kind of moment until they can accomplish their goals. Or it could be just like one individual trying to infiltrate John's crew and become a John lookalike. I'm kind of leaning towards the idea of someone trying to infiltrate their group and sabotage the crew's goals to push their own agenda. There's been a lot of like 4+1 imagery and things. This could be a fun thing to do unless Gigi has like precognition or clairvoyance to invalidate something of this sort. Oh yeah, I didn't forget about Gigi. I just want to talk about her with my theories. Here's what I'll say about Gigi. She lives in the South Pacific Ocean on an island with her pet dog and grandfather. I say she is on an island in the South Pacific because of the pumpkin with the, I don't know, cat, wolf, furry that is engraved on it. It is shown with a character who I can only assume is Gigi. The pumpkin is also shown to be taken into the future by the future guy, and we can kind of trace its location, I think. The image looks like a greenhouse to me with flowers that look like how suburb stuff looks. This leads me to think that Gigi's grandfather is the creator of Suburb, or at least the main working force on it. I don't think Gigi's grandfather is part of the group that the other parental figures were, but I do think that Gigi's parental figure, who was part of that group, is dead. I think she may have just lost her strife or was a needed sacrifice to win. I do think that it is a female figure because I think two male and two female, like the current group, would be like the same. Beck. Her pet? Dog. I don't really know if Beck is a dog or even a pet, but it kind of seems to be correct. Maybe Beck is a parental figure and is her older brother and a lazy piece of shit, and that is why Rose calls Beck a beast. I think it is more likely a pet, and I think it's either a dog or a pig, kind of based on being called a beast. Those are the two I think it could be. I'm kind of leaning towards a dog, and maybe like it has like a talking collar, like in the movie Up. One thing I was also thinking is, are they creating like forbidden fruits that, when eaten, take the user to the void with the greenhouse, flowers, and singular pumpkin? I think it is a decent throw out there. If Rose eats a pomegranate, then I will definitely think this is a Garden of Eden type thing. Another thing is maybe they are creating these things to like try to harvest for some goal. Are they creating worlds to harvest? Maybe certain individuals? I also think Gigi knows a lot more about everything because of her grandfather, but maybe she also has a weird strife. I don't think there's a chance Gigi didn't know what Suburb was. I can't be like for sure if she can see into the future, but it's definitely like hard leaning there. Now I kind of just want to talk about my goals and plans with this reading. I've mentioned on how I think since Homestuck resonates with so many people, I wanted to like experience it for myself. I'm inspired by Agamotto's Bleach series. I love watching someone discuss a series they're going through for the first time that I loved. And I want to do something similar. Again, I love Agamotto's Bleach series. If you love Bleach, you'll love his series. Also, I grew up appreciating like indie internet media. There's something like very special about something made by individuals. You can feel a person's soul in a way through their work. I plan to read all of Homestuck, play the official games, and explore fan creations from the time. Exploring fan creations may be an issue, but I will try to figure out a way. I think once I hit the published year like 2013, I'll start looking for things to check out of the time. One thing I may do at the end is cosplay my favorite character throughout the read. I also want to do something for each act I finish. Act 1, I bought the Problem Sleuth poster. Act 2, I'm not sure yet, but I'll figure something out quickly. I'm thinking about commissioning a character I can call me while reading. Right now, I use a pie crew created by Tugu0096 on Twitter. I like the guy I have from it, but a custom one could be cool. I would try to look for a Homestuck fan artist from like the peak days of Homestuck. I will try to do 2 live readings a week for viewers who want to like experience my real-time reactions and chat a little with me while I go through it all. Shortened, condensed versions of those streams for people who just want to catch some highlights without sitting through another read-along. I'm not the most over-the-top reactor, but I'm having fun reading, and hopefully you can have some fun chilling and chatting or just lurking. I also appreciate the bless you I received after sneezing and forgetting to mute my microphone. I want to do a weekly discussion video. I want it to be a more structured breakdown of something I've read. I want to focus on things I like throughout that week's reading. This could be the overall act, a specific interaction, cool world building things, themes, character impressions, or whatever I kind of feel like. I don't know how the Homestuck content creator landscape was back then, but I assume everything has been talked about. I also want to do some shorter content, maybe something people point out that I missed while reading, like Sean Dunn's 7083. He mentioned something I missed while reading. I forgot shortly after reading there was a planet I forgot about. I put it on my mind after a short moment. This change is something I was thinking about, but I pushed this video way too far. Sometimes I miss important, blatant things while reading because I have an idea and I forget what is against it. I don't want to be spoiled, but I do like when people help me out with things I miss or fun facts that don't spoil anything. I want to make quick theories or thoughts after I have had after the fact that I don't think will make the weekly video. I've missed a lot with this quick video. I just needed to put more into words than I do on stream. I'll be better at doing this as I continue to read. I've been just really busy with work the last couple of weeks. But my work weeks usually aren't this busy. I'll try to keep a decent speed. I missed last Wednesday's stream this week because of my work, and I have to wait even longer to continue the story. Act 2 ended with so many questions, and I don't even get to start it till a week after I read it last Sunday. Okay, I don't really have an ending ritual type of thing, but bye-bye.